Hi everyone, welcome to today's video, all about happy hips and hamstrings today. So loosening up the entire back chain of our body, stretching our legs, stretching into our hips. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So coming to kneel towards the back of your mat, taking the big toes to touch, taking the knees out as wide as your mat is and seeing if the hips will drop down towards the heels. If you are in the shape and it's uncomfortable on the tops of your feet, guys, I know there's a few of you who watch my videos in a non-creepy way. Use a hand towel underneath your feet. Just roll it up and take it underneath the ankle bone. It'll give you a bit more support there. Coming back to centre, placing the hands down onto the legs. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, start to walk the hands forwards. Dropping the chest down towards the mat. And maybe the forehead and the tip of the nose just come to rest here. Spreading the fingers nice and wide, soft bend into the elbows and pushing the hips back towards the heels. So we're already starting to open up and work into our hip joints a little bit. And just checking in, are we comfortable here? If not, maybe taking the legs a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, doing what you can to make yourself feel a bit better. If the forehead, tip of the nose doesn't find the mat, you might use a block or a big chunky book if you have one of those instead, or a towel or something just underneath your forehead to give you a bit of support there. Coming to a nice, still, static position, just setting up our breath that's going to carry us through our practice here. Breathing in and breathing out through the nose. It's a nice smooth inhale, matched by a nice smooth and steady exhale. Breathing in for 3 or 4 counts and breathing out for the same 3 or 4 counts. As always, breath set at a level that you think you can maintain throughout our practice today. Trying to smoothen off that exhale, getting rid of any little raggedy bits. Trying to make it as smooth and flawless, seamless as the inhale. Taking another couple of rounds of breath here, just breathing in. And breathing out. Maybe you take this a little bit more active, creeping the fingertips forwards. Pushing the hips back towards the heels even more, stretching through the body. Then on your next inhale, you rise yourself up into an all fours position. Spreading the fingertips nice and wide, your first finger points forward, your knees are under your hips. Your toes can be tucked under if that's better for your knees, or flat if not. Coming into a couple of rounds of cat-cow, warming up our spine. Inhale, gazing up, tailbone up. Exhale, round out, chin to chest and gaze towards the belly. Keep moving like this, taking 4 or 5 rounds. So warming up our spine, warming up the back body is super, super good. Always warming through that back every time you come onto your mat, every time you practice. Just moving with your breath, starting to link and build that connection between every movement you make physically and every breath you take. Inhaling, looking up, tailbone up. Keep those hands pressing down, keep the hips over your knees. Breathing in. And breathing out, just moving with that breath. Finishing off the round you're on, then coming back to centre. Right leg extends behind you from here. Taking a bit of a rock forwards and a rock back, stretching through the back of the calf, back of the hamstring. Coming to centre, hover that right leg away. Slide it over to the left. Kick through your right heel and look over your left shoulder. Pressing that leg away. Get a stretch into the side body, the little tight, juicy bits down the side of our hips where we carry a lot of tension. Keep breathing in and breathing out, then change. Come back to centre, let that right knee find the mat. Have a bit of a wiggle here. Left leg this time extends away from you. We just rock forwards and backwards and back, stretching all the way down the back of the left leg this time and noticing if there's any bits that feel a little bit different, a little bit tighter. Then coming back to centre, floating that left leg away and slide it over to the right. Putting your foot in the curtain like I just did, but don't worry, we're a bit tight for space here. Kicking that left heel away from you, looking over your right shoulder. Juicy stretch all the way down the left hand side of the body. Breathing in and breathing out. Coming all the way back to centre. Let that left knee find the mat. And your hands just walk a pace forward. Coming up into down dog, it's our first big hamstring stretch. So curling the toes under, hovering the knees a little bit of an inch or 2 away from the mat, getting some weight in the wrist. Then as you exhale, lifting those hips up nice and high. Giving the legs a little bit of a walk out, wobble and a shake, bending and swaying through the hips. Bending and swaying, bend and sway. Going back to centre, checking your alignment. So first thing, look at your hands. Make sure those knuckles are pressing down and the first finger's pointing forwards. The biceps roll towards and away. Belly's in, tailbone straight up to the ceiling. Heels don't need to be on your mat. Feeling the stretch in the back of the thigh, the back of the calf here, and the thighs rotate towards the back of the room behind you. You can't see your heels. Breathe in. And breathe out. Start to tiptoe those feet in a little bit closer, pressing the heels down. And take your feet out really wide. Take the feet out to the width of the mat, turn the toes out, turn the heels in, and press the hips back. Coming into a froggy doggy. Bend into the knees, keep that tailbone up high, and roll the knees away. So it's like we're doing a little frog, then straighten out as much as you can. Then bend and straighten and bend and straighten. Take the feet back to centre into the midsection of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Start to tiptoe the feet forwards, coming up onto the fingertips. We inhale, lengthen, lift the chest, and the head is in line with the hips roughly. The hands can be down on the shins, and we lengthen here. So this is already a bit of a stretch for the back of the hamstrings. Might feel quite strong down the back legs if you're tight there. Breathing in and breathing out. Exhale, forward fold all the way down to the mat. Heel toe your feet together. So the feet land side by side, heels touch. Options here. We're going to take opposite elbows behind our knees and let the head go. Or you scoop your heels up from behind like little ice cream scoops. Let your head go down. And you start to pull. Rolling the forearms behind the legs. Keep lifting the hips towards the ceiling. Sandwiching the belly to the thighs and the forehead to the knees. Stretching the back of the legs out here. Breathe in and breathe out. Then change. Releasing the hands. Take an inhale round yourself. All the way up to stand. Let the hands fall down by your side. Just breathe in and breathe out. Really nice. Inhale, let your hands come up, look up. Exhale, fold all the way down to your mat. Let the hands come down. Step your right leg back and drop your right knee. We're into a low lunge here. Untuck your right toes. Make sure there's a space between your left foot and your right knee for your hips. We take an inhale, rock forward into a really, really deep lunge, getting a stretch through the front of our groin and the front of the hip on the right hand side. Exhale, walk your hands back. Inhale, forwards again. Exhale and back. Inhale, coming back to centre, sort of middle position. Right hand stays down on the mat. Inhale, left hand goes up. Roll the left hand side of the chest up. Keep squeezing the bum. Option to release the right shin away and drop your left hand onto your right foot. Taking this into a bit of a stretch for the front of the right thigh. Rolling that left shoulder up and the right shoulder under. Keep squeezing the bum. Release the hand away from the foot. Left hand comes down to your mat. Curl your right toes under, lift the knee away. Option to just step your right foot in and step the left foot back. Or you can take a little jump and end up dropping that left knee down. It's up to you. Jumping's fun. I like jumping, so jump. Take an inhale, start to rock forwards. Coming into that low lunge groin stretch on the left hand side. Making sure there's still space between our foot and our knee here. Exhaling, walking the hands back. Taking this into our hamstring stretch. Inhale, walk forwards again. And exhale, walking back. Coming back to centre. Your right knee roughly over the ankle. Leave your left hand down on the mat. Inhale, right hand goes up. Taking a twist through the chest here. Still getting that stretch into the left quadricep, the front of your thigh. Lift your left toes away from the mat. Let your right hand come back. Maybe you can catch the foot. It's going to feel a lot stronger, but just go with it. Breathing in and breathing out. Hand away from the foot. Right hand comes down to the mat. Curl your left toes under. Lift the knee away. Step the left foot forwards. Inhale, round yourself. all the way up to standing. Take a turn to face the long edge of your mat. You want some space? Standing at one end or the other. Take an inhale, hands go up. Exhale, take your feet out as wide as your legs are, as wide as your hands are. You can tell it's been a long week here. Bending into the wrists, the fingertips line up with the edges of your feet. So if that's not the case for you, you take your feet wider. Starting to turn the right toes out and the left toes in. You want your left and right, so I'm doing this the other way around to you, but your left instep and your right heel aligned. Starting to bend into your right knee. We're coming into our warrior hip 2. So this is a really great pose for opening the hips. Squeezing the bum together and building a bit of mobility into our hip joints. Gazing over your right fingertips. We inhale, reach for the front of our mat. Right hand goes down inside right leg and left hand goes up to 12. Keep rolling your left shoulder up and the right shoulder down. Pressing down the baby toe on your left foot. Breathing in and breathing out. Feeling a stretch in the side of the body. So we're not necessarily going for the mat here. You can be somewhere a little bit higher, but there's no weight in that bottom arm. And your right knee is deeply bent. Take an inhale, come all the way back up. Hold your lunge. Then change. Straighten your right knee out. You turn your toes in. We start to turn the left toes out. So we're going to go and do the same thing on the opposite side. And again, left heel to right instep, nice and strong. Back arms lifted. It's not like soggy spaghetti down here. It's nice and strong. Bending into your left knee. Having a look over that knee, you want to be able to see the big toe and the second toe. Squeezing that left bum cheek under and the right hip back. Take an inhale, gazing over those left fingertips. Reach forwards. Left hand goes down, right hand goes up. We're rotating through the side body here. Right shoulder up and left shoulder under. Sending that tailbone away. Pressing down through the right baby toe. Just breathe and twist. Keep pressing your left knee out towards the baby toe side of the foot. So it fires up the midsection of your bum. Breathe in and breathe out. And change, coming all the way back up. Hold your lunge. Keep it strong. Straighten out. Turn your toes forwards. So for here, widening the stance a little bit, turn the toes in towards each other so you're a little bit pigeon-toed, unless you have sciatica, in which case your toes just track forwards. Inhale, lift your chest, and as you exhale, you swan dive forwards until the chests are roughly in line with the hips, then your hands come down to the mat. We take an inhale, rock the weight forward. So this might be enough for you. You might have a block or two just in front of you just to support you here. So this might feel like a lot on the back of the legs. If it is, take a soft bend into the knees here. Inhale, and as you exhale, start to walk the hands down towards the back, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, rocking the weight forwards, because you're not going to topple off here, don't worry, it's fine. Top of the head eventually comes down to the mat. Walking the hands back towards you, lifting through those hips, big stretch into the inside of the thighs. Breathe in and breathe out. Then change, start to walk the hands forwards. We're going to walk our hands round towards our right foot or your left foot. It doesn't really matter which way you want to go. Drop your left knee down. Take your right hand inside your right leg. Walk your right toes out to the side of the mat. Let the knee roll out. So options for coming into this pose, lizard pose. Options to stay here on the hands. If this is enough for you, enough of a stretch on the inside of the right thigh and down the left front of your thigh. Options to maybe lower down onto one elbow, two elbows. Maybe you use a block if you have one handy or a book, just to bring you a little bit closer. Let me take a couple of breaths here. Maybe taking a little bit of a rock forwards and backwards, and we find a comfortable position, or as comfortable as we can be. Breathing in and breathing out. Then change, walking the hands back up. Let your right toes come back to centre. Curl your left toes under, step that left foot forwards and step the right leg back. Drop your right knee down. Left hand comes inside left leg walks out. Knee rolls out towards the left hand foot. The right leg's nice and flat on the mat behind you. And again, you might be nice and high in a high lifted lizard. Maybe you lower down onto your elbows. Maybe you're on a block. Doesn't really matter. Come in wherever you feel like is the right place for you. Maybe you rock from side to side. Maybe this side feels completely different and that's really normal. Just breathe in and breathe out. So if you feel really uncomfortable here and it's a painful sensation, like sharp and electrical, then work your way out. If it's just like, oh, this is horrible, yoga's not meant to be comfortable, so just go with it. And breathe in and breathe out. Start to walk those hands back towards you. Walk that left foot back to centre. Let your hands find the mat. Planted down nice and firmly. Fingertips spread wide. First finger points forward. Curl your right toes under. Lift the knee away. Step the left leg back. Quick down dog. Give the legs a bit of a wobble and a shake. So maybe you're like, oh, my legs feel a lot better here. Tell you what mine do. Loads better. Breathe in and breathe out. Starting to rock the weight forwards. We're into a plank. Lift the right leg away. Start to bring your right knee to the outside of your right wrist. So right onto the edge of your mat. Let the left knee find the mat onto your toes. Right foot falls into your left hip crease. Walking the fingertips up. We're in a proud pigeon. We exhale. Maybe down onto the forearms. Maybe all the way down. Whatever shape feels good for you. So there is an option to do this on your back as well. So you can lie on your back, have the feet flat on the mat, knees up to the ceiling, and you cross your ankle just over the edge of your thigh and let the knee drop away from the centre line of the body. So you're making the same shape, just upside down. Tucking the chin in towards the chest maybe, and just settling here. So stretching into the IT band, down the side of the leg, into the piriformis muscle, in the midsection of our bum. They're areas where we carry a lot of tension. We're also stretching into the front of the hip flexor on that left hand leg too. So just trying to find a bit of peace and a bit of stillness here. Then change, starting to walk the hands back up. First finger points forward. Slide that left leg back in, curl your toes under, lift the knee, slide your right leg away. And we're just going to swap over. Left leg comes forward, knee to the outside of your left wrist. Left foot walks forward, heel lands into your right hip crease, you untuck your right toes. And they slide back behind you. We sit up nice and tall into a proud pigeon. And we exhale, maybe lowering down onto the elbows, maybe the arms come flat, maybe the forehead, the tip of the nose does. If as many of you are a little bit more bendy, verging on hypermobile, maybe considering to just stay within your end range of motion. So somewhere that's not right at the end of where you can go. So maybe you choose to stay on the forearms rather than lowering all the way down and the forehead on the mat. Just staying a little bit more active, protecting your joints. And again, stretching into the same areas of the body here. Just breathing in and breathing out. Finding a little bit of stillness, a little bit of calm. And just spending another couple of breaths here. Just trying to keep the hips nice and square and the breath nice and smooth. Breathing in and breathing out. Starting to work yourself back out, letting the hands come down onto the mat. Curling your right toes under, lifting the knee away, shooting that left leg back and the hips up nice and high. Back into a downward dog, giving the legs a little wobble and a little shake. And just breathing in and breathing out here, noticing how much looser those legs make me feel. Tiptoeing those toes in and stepping the feet out as wide as your mat. Coming on to our little yogi squat. Taking a bit of a rock from side to side. Taking one hand into the knee, the other hand into the knee, and the hands come together in the centre of the chest. Tailbone sits down and the chest lifts. Keep the gaze forwards. Heels can be down, heels can be lifted, it doesn't really matter. Just taking a couple of breaths here. Breathing in and breathing out, sending that tailbone down. Then let your bum come down to the mat. Let the heels find the mat. In a staff pose, so bend into the knees, resting on the back of the heels, toes point up to the ceiling, hands rest by your sides. Take an inhale, lift the hands up. Exhale, fold forwards, getting the belly onto the thighs, resting the hands onto the legs or onto the feet if you can reach. but really important to maintain that belly to thigh connection, dragging the chest along the legs. And exhaling, sliding the heels forwards or walking them if your mat's grippy like mine is, lifting through that chest and exhaling, folding. Don't let the legs split apart from each other. It doesn't matter if the legs stay really bent, it's about feeling a bit of a stretch through the back side of the body here. Breathing in and just breathing out. Then change, coming all the way back up to seated, drop your hands down by your hips, extending through that left leg. I'm going to pick up that right leg and let the sole of the foot come down. The baby toe side of your right foot's resting on your mat and the sole's pointing off to the side. Keeping that left toe nice and flexed. Option to stay with the left leg bent if this already feels like a lot on the hips, or you can bend into the left leg as well. Stacking both the knees on top of each other into our cow face pose. Lifting through the chest and maybe creeping the hands just in front of the legs. Applying a bit more stretch and a bit more pressure onto those hips, but only if that feels okay. If it doesn't, just stay lifted, it's okay. Breathing in and breathing out. Then walking the hands back up. We're going to take a fun little transition. Don't worry if you cock it up, it's totally fine. Dropping the hands over to the left. You're going to press down through your right foot. Start to lift your hips away from the mat. Walk your hands around, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Hands end up round on the right, and then you can just kind of lower yourself down. And it's just quite fun. And don't worry though if you can't do it, just switch your legs over. So again, option for the left leg is going to stay over the top and the baby toe side of left foot's on the mat. Your right leg can extend or it can end up bent. Stacking through the knees, and making sure that left hip and the right hip are both down on the mat. If you feel like really uncomfortable and you're rolling over to one side using a block, or just extending that bottom leg if that's better for you. Taking an inhale, lifting that chest and exhaling, walking the hands forward slightly, getting a bit more compression into the hip joints here. Inhale, lifting, and exhale, just tipping forwards that tiny little bit. Breathing in and breathing out. Then change, walking the hands back up. Gonna extend the right leg in front, uncross the left, give those legs a little bit of a shake. We're going to go down to the mat. So reaching the fingertips forward, press down through your toes and roll all the way down. Let the feet find the mat, the knees point up to the ceiling, split the feet out as wide as your mat is. Let the arms come out like a little cactus arm. Inhale, and as you exhale, drop both your knees over to the right, gaze towards the left. You're twisting in two opposite directions here. Letting that left hip lift, if it does, that's fine. If it doesn't, then don't worry too much. Then change, bring the knees back to centre, bring the gaze back to centre, drop the knees over to the left and the gaze over towards the right. Breathing and twisting here. Letting everything settle in that back. Then coming back to centre. Floating the knees into the chest, give yourself a little hug. Then coming to lie flat on your mat, letting the legs go long and letting the hands go by your side. Closing off the eyes or softening the gaze, just letting everything be heavy. Releasing the furrows in the eyebrows, letting the shoulders relax. Maybe you shrug the shoulder blades underneath you. Letting the belly just rise and fall. There's no control over the breath anymore. You're just breathing in and breathing out, letting it all go. Hips, knees, toes all heavy, long and loose. We're being supported by our mat and breathing here. When you're ready, pushing yourself up to seated and spinning to face whatever you're watching me on, computer, TV, whatever. Taking the hands to rest into the lap. Inhaling, taking the hands up overhead, let your palms touch and drop the hands into the centre of the chest. Drop the chin towards the chest, the nose towards the fingertips. Blink the eyes open and start to shift the gaze back to centre. Well done, I'm sure you all absolutely smashed that practice. Just a little short one, stretching into our hips, our hamstrings, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can drop me a message or leave me a comment below. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Bye!